Right.
In fact, they started doing the parking lot last week.
Cool.
Oh yeah,
They gonna
I
be
keep
done.
my eyes on it. Listen, these guys,
Your cousin.
my cousins, they don't play. They have a work ethic that's unbelievable.
Just email me it's an economic development.
So Phil Rosenfeld also Phil's their drafting.
I didn't know the one. Yeah, because it came up today. I don't get the info. So Tom emailed me going, "You need to be here. You have to give a report." Thank you very much. And here I was ready. I got skipped. It's when I'm not ready that they're going to call me up, right? Okay. Thanks.
Hello, sir. So good to see you.
Sir, can you step back behind the
Oh, hey Liz, how are you?
You doing all right?
Who's name right here? Catherine Brown. Okay, then keep going.
How you doing? Everything good?
Yes, sir.
Dex.
How you doing?
Wait, why you?
Mentioned a couple times I was here.
I know.
Yeah.
Yesterday I had a deal. I had to finish up on work.
What he got you?
And last
I had you sign it.
caller, hey Liz,
Are you
are you?
Gonna say that today.
you still doing your real estate stuff?
Grassy spot.
Which I'm glad. I'm grateful.
Really?
Because the first 6 months of the year last year was slow. They started picking up.
We believe we
BC?
Where are the speak clips at? I had talked to her today. Very, very today.
we don't think we can get there. We think we can get enough.
But I mean, if everybody had to park there for some weird reason, you know, everybody, it would be 81 cars, and that's with 15 vacant patrol cars.
Hey Tom.
John just hit. We already have parking space.
Because we used to park in a smaller footprint underneath the shed. We used to park 150 cars in a smaller.
We don't believe
Parking.
we first of all, we were not opposed to that site. We were looking at the site that we thought would services better. And that's not gonna happen. So this is a very good site. We still have a cap on what we can. Well, it's always
You're out of order.
I'm kicked out every day. Never. I have. All the police here. They were well protected.
Thank you. Oh.
No, I say something. Yes, scary. Want to be name. I
Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to get started in about 2 minutes. Don't see. Come up this way.
But-
How are you? How's your vacation? I saw pictures of it. Looks like
I mean, I just kind of rolled around. Mine's kind of limited about, your area. And we don't want all that testing in the Paul Martin.
have a life.
Okay.
I mean, the phone.
That's why I said it's just they got it going on in here. It's hot.
I got Bonnie and Booker T.
That's true.
That's right. You can splash yourself.
What's up, Dre?
Put any insulation.
Okay. Get ready. Good afternoon, everyone. The meeting of the Shreveport City Council is now called to order. I'm going to ask Father Martin to please give the invocation. I'm going to ask Councilman Jackson to lead us in the pledge.
As I begin, I would want to give thanks and praise for the opportunity I had yesterday to meet with many of you in worship and in prayer for this city. It was a real joy to be able to be with you.
Thank you.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for the many opportunities we have in the city of Shreveport. And as we gather in council, I pray that you would extend your blessing to Tabitha Taylor, to Gary Brooks, to Jim Taliaferro, Grayson Butcher, to Alan Jackson, to James Green, and to Ursula Bowman. Lord, we pray that your Holy Spirit would inspire them, that they might have a charity, a spirit of wisdom and charity, of justice, that they may exercise their office with steadfast purpose, that they may faithfully serve in their office to the welfare of all people. We pray it in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Please place a hand over your heart and fight with me. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Taylor.
Present.
Councilman Brooks.
Here.
Councilman Taliaferro.
Here, ma'am.
Councilman Butcher.
Here.
Councilman Jackson.
Here.
Councilman Green.
I'm here.
And Councilwoman Bowman.
Present. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the Administrative Conference meeting Monday, January 13th, and the City Council meeting Tuesday, January 14th, 2025?
So move.
So moved by Councilman Green, second by Councilman Jackson. Are there any questions? Please vote.
I'm an I. I don't know my computer's slow.
Okay. Yay.
There it is.
There you go. Well, mine is not.
That passes with a 7-0.
Thank you, mine still is not. Does any council member have any awards, recognitions, or distinguished guests not to exceed 15 minutes?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Councilman Green?
Yes, I have a friend of mine here. Brad, will you come up? Brad has some information about some work that he's doing in the city of Shreveport, some great work. And Brad, come on up, and the mic is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Don't have anything too prepared, but it's a service that we offer and a calling, so I feel like I can speak to it pretty fair. I'm Administrator Brad Mabry of Physicians Behavioral Hospital in Shreveport. Linwood and Midway, we actually have 2 addresses in front on Midway, one on DeSoto Street, 2025 DeSoto Street. Adult inpatient psychiatric hospital, licensed currently for 48 beds. We started this business about 15 years ago and continue to expand. One of the things that we wanted to cover and make sure that we talked about here was allowing this council and anybody that's in a position to make decisions for the city. We opened a temporary housing facility last January for homeless residents of Shreveport-Bossier. Something that we have discovered in this line of work is looking at homelessness as a symptom and not a problem. People think homelessness and people on the street is a problem because it's what you see, someone get in the way of what you're trying to do. And it's a problem for most people. Technically, it's a symptom to a problem, and we have discerned that diagnosed and untreated psychosis or undiagnosed and untreated psychosis is a problem. And it renders itself visible to most people through homelessness and through drug addiction. So our inpatient psychiatric facility, which treats suicidal, homicidal, or gravely disabled as the admission criteria into our facility, and we treat them through crisis stabilization. We are licensed as an acute care facility, treating people at their most vulnerable position in life, and we do a really good job of it. Taking that further, as we determined that typically these patients have nowhere to go when they're discharged from an inpatient psychiatric facility. So last January, we started a homeless shelter as long as they would continue to receive outpatient treatment and stay medication compliant. There's where the breakdown is typically, is the medication compliance, and their resources have been cut short because of things that they may have done previously in their life. Doesn't mitigate the problem that is exposed to the rest of society through trying to help people through a very difficult time that has become their life, and their resources are limited by either their own behavior or by the way that the system is established that makes it very complicated for people who are at a low point. Our homeless shelter continues to grow. We started off with about 20 beds to see if it would work. We're at 40. We continue to do things that are required to expand. We're hoping we can get to 100. We believe that if we can get to 100, we can afford safety, security, food, shelter. They have their own air conditions, clean linen. We have requirements that make them take showers every 48 hours and do the things which we call activities of daily living that would allow them to understand there are some requirements involved with staying with us, getting their medications, staying alcohol-free. We do drug testing to make sure that they stay off drugs. Reverend Green and I were discussing things that were going on in our community and things that we could do, and he asked me if I would come share. We don't do a lot of marketing because we get most of our patients out of emergency rooms all over the state of Louisiana. So it's not a direct-to-consumer type business. But because of that, I think we are a mystery, and we are a silent partner in the community because we don't market in a traditional way. The things that I offer to this council is, I know that you guys are confronting these issues or issues that are very intertwined with homelessness on a daily basis, either through your constituents calling you or just by coming into the last 15 minutes of this meeting. I discern there's some level of inconvenience that homelessness creates when you're trying to organize and manage a city. I totally understand that. If we can ever be a part of a solution or ever be a part of a gathering of like-minded people who are trying to figure out that how do you help stop homelessness, it's typically through psychiatric treatment. Undiagnosed people don't know where to get treatment because they're not diagnosed. Schizophrenia is a neurodevelopmental disorder. It renders itself visible to most people in their 20s, their early 20s. A lot of people don't know they're becoming schizophrenic. When they become schizophrenic for the first time, they become diagnosed. Those are typically the people that you see wandering around because they're not compliant with their medication, or maybe they've never even had medication written for them before. But when we drive by, we see them as homeless. If there's anything that we could ever do as an organization, Physicians Behavioral Hospital, 2025 DeSoto Street, if there's anything we could ever do, you can reach out through Mr. Green, or you can reach out through the website. You can call us. We're around. We've been around 15 years. Let us know. We want to be more involved. We just don't know how we can help because we take patients for emergency rooms. What we don't go is go out and ask people, hey, do you want to come to the hospital? It's not how it works. But if we can be anything, we're ready, we're willing, and we're available. We're not new. We may be new to you guys. And on the homeless side of this, the homeless shelter that we've created, which continues to expand, it's full every single day. They don't want to leave because we treat them well. But it's not just treating them well. It's we are making sure they stay seeing a doctor once a week, which they don't have access to on their own. I could sit here and talk for an hour and explain to you the ugly nature of adult psychiatric continuity of care. It's not a pretty scene. I don't want to waste your time with that, but if any of y'all ever want to know more about it, I'd love to have 3 cups of coffee with you and talk about it.
Okay.
That's a lot.
It'd take a while. But we're doing things for people that may not have the means and resources to do it themselves. Seeing a doctor once a week, I would challenge anybody in this room to ask their current doctor if they could come by weekly and have an appointment with them. They would absolutely tell you no. One, because the insurance company is not going to pay for a weekly visit, and the doctor's going to say there's nothing to talk about. I'll see you when something happens. In my shelter, we see a doctor every single week. I see a nurse. They see a nurse every single day. And they see group therapists every single day. There's where this breaks down and they become a potential risk factor into the future of becoming homeless again. We believe if we can do those things proactively, they won't leave us, and eventually they will be in a situation where they can make better decisions for themselves and maybe get on their feet. Again, there's no real request here other than exposing myself and my organization to who we are. And if any one of y'all ever need anything or are part of a planning group that says, man, I remember that guy that came and talked to us about this, reach out to Reverend Green. He can find me. He knows where I am. Physicians Behavioral Hospital. And that's all I wanted to do. That's all I
Thank
wanted
you
to say.
so much. Thank you. Any council members? Councilman Jackson.
I definitely appreciate you coming down. Homelessness has been an issue in my district, and you're correct. And forgive my ignorance because I probably am a part of this. We assume that it's their fault that they're homeless. It's something they did that brought them to that conclusion. And so I'm glad you brought up another alternative that a lot of it's mental. My question is, what happens when they don't want help? I've had to send police officers to my district countless times to remove homeless people. And I believe we have resources to help them. But if the homeless person is refusing those resources, what do you do then?
It's difficult. So in my business, we try to always say, don't do for someone what they know they can do for themselves. It's complicated and it's tangled because a lot of psychosis has been polypharmacy to a point where the patient starts to abuse alcohol and drugs themselves because they don't have access to conventional, modern, peer-reviewed scientific medication. They can't get to the doctor. They can't get a prescription. It's hot. They have to ride a bus. If they miss their appointment, they get bounced out another 2 months. And then they've got insurance they have to deal with. Pre-certs, pre-authorizations. It's complicated for me, and I've been doing this for 25 years and have an MBA. It's difficult, and it's trying. And I hang up the phone. I'll call them back later, and I'm not psychotic. It is difficult. It is difficult, and not everybody can do it. I didn't want to come up here and suggest this was easy. However, there are enough intelligent people in this world, and there's enough people that care where you can get through these issues. But the first step is separating the comorbid aspect of this and confusing psychosis for substance abuse disorder. Typically, they are married. However, they did not start off being married. Make sense?
It does.
So the first thing I'd say, Mr. Jackson, is, are we talking about somebody that has a substance abuse disorder or undiagnosed and untreated psychosis or diagnosed yet untreated psychosis? Big difference. Some people don't know they're schizophrenic until they become diagnosed as schizophrenic. They just think they're odd. So what do? If I take some drugs or abuse some alcohol, when I'm low, I get high again. And when I'm really high and manic, I take downers so I get low again. It makes them feel what you and I would consider normal. But it's not. That's not the way of doing it. Polypharmacy is not the suggested route. So there's how it becomes coupled. And what do you see? Yeah, you do see someone who's psychotic, and now he's on drugs. That is a problem for conventional society. But again, it's a symptom, not a problem. The problem was the original thesis here, which is a mostly untreated psychiatric disorder. And just because you're psychotic as an adult does not mean you're psychotic as an adolescent. A lot of these are developmental disorders, so they become exacerbated over time. And I'm not a doctor, so if I could have a doctor speak, it'd be way more scientific than this. This is just from doing the business every day.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for your question.
Yes, Councilman Green.
Brad, thank you for coming. I really appreciate you reaching out to me. You opened my eyes. I always wondered about homeless people, the bloody and the dusty. And so thank you. And would you give your address again so that, and I know you're right across the street from the school board, but give your address again so that if anyone
The hospital interest is 2025 DeSoto Street. And that is the hospital. So crisis, stabilization, suicidal, homicidal, and gravely disabled. Under the umbrella of gravely disabled comes a lot of things. Suicidal, homicidal, gravely disabled is the admission criteria for our facility.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you
so
for the
much.
time.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Anybody else? Councilman Brooks? Councilman Brooks?
I'd like to bring up the family of Coach Conway. Is there anyone here? No. Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? I'm going to ask the staff and students of Booker T. Washington to please come to the podium. Madam Clerk, will you please read Resolution 14?
Resolution 14, a resolution to recognize the 75th anniversary of Booker T. Washington High School. Whereas Booker T. Washington High School in Shreveport opened January 23rd, 1950, on a 33-acre campus in Lakeside, Allendale community. The new school building, situated within a thriving African-American neighborhood, immediately became a community icon and demonstrated that place matters. Whereas Booker T. Washington offered basic high school and college prep academic courses in English, literature, music, social science, health, general science, biology, algebra, geometry, chemistry, and physical education, as well as numerous vocational courses. And whereas numerous graduates of Booker T. Washington High School have become prominent educators, doctors, lawyers, politicians, business professionals, writers, and many have become prominent in other crafts and professions. Whereas because of the dedication and the competencies of the school's principals, teachers, and staff since 1950, and the contributions that its students have made to this state and nation, in 2015, Booker T. Washington High School Distinguished Heritage and Traditional qualified to be registered in the National Registry of Historic Places. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Shreveport in due regular and legal session convened that the Shreveport City Council recognizes the 75th anniversary of Booker T. Washington High School and the many contributions that its faculty and students have made to the state, nation during those 75 years.
years, and you brought some history in the room with you, huh?
We did.
Yeah, okay,
We
the
did.
mic is all yours.
Yes, well, thank you so much. I am Shelronda Williams, the assistant principal at Booker T. Washington High School. And I have with me one of our teachers, Mr. Quentin Ott, and two of our scholars, amazing scholars, Mr. David Adger and Michaela Hopkins. They're both seniors. On behalf of Principal Crystal T. Barnes of Booker T. Washington High School and the entire staff, we're thankful, grateful, and blessed for our City of Shreveport City Council for acknowledging this 75th celebration. We're thankful for everything that you've done for the recognition. We appreciate your commitment to excellence in our city, and we're equally committed to continue the 75-year legacy of Booker T. Washington High School and the Allendale Lakeside community. We will continue to develop productive citizens into society and make sure they have all the support that they need for post-secondary education or whatever career path that they chose. Again, we thank you, the City of Shreveport City Council, for this recognition.
Don't move. Quentin, I know you have something to say. I know you do.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much because I feel as if sometimes, the city of Shreveport might put a certain stigma on Booker T. Washington, right on Milam Street, but they just don't know we have future doctors, lawyers that are going to change and bloom our world the best way possible. And so, the council, if you guys would ever love to come and see our community, come and see our campus, man, you have so many thriving students who have the eagerness to change and the eagerness to implement strategies to move our city forward the best way possible. And so, I'm just honored to be there. I've been there for 3 years. I teach social studies, and I look at kids each and every day who have a desire and a dream to, to change the environment around them. So thank you again.
You're more than welcome. The stigma is you are the epitome of the civil rights movement. My cousin, who will be 95 years old, is a part of the first graduating class of Booker T. Washington High School. My dad was a graduate of Booker T. Washington High School and was one of the students that was there fighting door tours. That's probably why I have all this fight in me right now. So what we are is a community that embraces the gifts and the talents that Booker T. Washington has gifted towards us and towards this community. And I see that you have your alumni present, so don't be shy right now. Go ahead on and stand up. 75 years of excellence, Mr. B. So I will ask all of you to come to the front along with any other alumni that is in the room, and to make sure that you come and take a picture with the mayor and the Shreveport City Council.
Thank you. Let's go stand here or up there. Balance out.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you.
What year did you graduate? 77. Graduated from high school.
Did you come take a picture? Yes. Oh. You got back so fast and swiftly. Oh.
Oh, that's what y'all been getting for me? I'm touched. Y'all former chairman, y'all recognize me.
Put the T in there.
Huh?
Yeah.
Didn't know the bag is.
Council members. I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that this is a happy and sad occasion for me at the same time. Ms. Bonnie Moore, would you please come forward? tried not to have any water in these eyes, but that was going to be literally impossible given the impact that you've had over my life since I'd entered this world. It is a bittersweet day for the city of Shreveport for everything that you have done for this community, within this community, and the lives that you have touched. And so I had to threaten her to come here. I threatened that I would give her a hug if she came today for just 15 minutes, just so we could celebrate you, because you are due this honor. Everything that you have attributed to so many of us is unparalleled, and we can't even put those into words. But I want to thank you. I want to thank you for the homes that you created, for the opportunities that you created for so many men and women within the city of Shreveport, for the relationships that you've built from not only in the city of Shreveport, but in this region, but all the way up to Washington, D.C., and far beyond. I want to thank you for the love and compassion that you've shown. And you are an action person. You don't just talk. Your quiet spirit radiates among so many that you give us all teachable moments that we have to channel our inner Barney Moore. I am going to miss you terribly. The city of Shreveport will miss you, and you are irreplaceable. There may be someone that is going to take your place, but there will be very difficult shoes to fill if they do not have the love and the tenacity that you exhibit for mankind. I want to say just for this moment that we love you, that we appreciate you, and just be happy on your retirement. Please do not leave the state of Louisiana, because I promise you that we're still going to need you. But I just wanted to just celebrate you just for a few moments for everything that you have given to us. Thank you. Councilman Green.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Bunny, I don't know if you know legally if you can actually retire, because you have not talked to Calvin Lester, Theron Jackson, and myself. Because when we had an ordinance that says that if you did not stay in the city limits, that you could not be a department head, and you were available, and we spearheaded that ordinance. So I'm not for sure if we had in there that you can't retire or not, but I'll have to get Tanya them to look it up. But we were very serious about you coming because you brought so much to the table. And we just would like to, on behalf of the whole Arclatac, we'd just like to say thank you. And you've meant so much to this city and to this Arclatac and to all of us. So before you get set, let me check with them and see if it's okay. And then I'll let you know if you can go on and retire. But congratulations and God bless you.
Thank you. Do we have to approve her leaving? Huh? Do we have to approve her leaving?
Yeah, we got to talk to Theron and Cal.
I've signed the papers.
Madam Vice Chair.
Ms. Bunny, thank you so much for all of your service. Before I actually knew who you was, you have always been family to the Bowman family. I always heard my mother-in-law, the late Joyce Bowman, Bunny, let me call Bunny Moore, and then my husband always let me call Bunny Moore. And so you're like family to our family, and I really appreciate you, and you will be missed. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councilman Jackson.
Whew. So I'm going to say this is the community that Bonnie Moore built.
Yes.
Definitely. Over 5 mayors, 20-some years. And what's remarkable, Ms. Moore, is that you take every meeting, you answer every phone call as if it was your first day on the job. You have no burnout syndrome in you at all. I'm surprised that you're even retiring because you come to work every day like this is your first. You help every single body that comes across your desk, and that is remarkable. And I agree with Madam Chair. We may find somebody to take your job, but you are irreplaceable. Those shoes will always be half empty because they're going to be missing you. So we're hoping that you stay around. We're hoping that you still continue to answer the phone because Shreveport still needs you. And honestly, your work is not done.
Correct. Correct. Councilman Talaferro?
Thank you for allowing me to have you on speed dial. You have always given me the opportunity and the privilege to meet you, to meet me wherever I needed you, and to help and shape and save so many citizens who have had horrific days, especially helping me find adequate housing for my constituents at the Jolie, for taking their calls and for helping them out in whatever capacity it was. You are a true servant, and I am humbled to have had the opportunity to serve alongside you. And I certainly appreciate your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Butcher?
Bonnie, I want to tell you that your department, we don't have very much interaction because I'm way out in the suburbs, so to say, but your department has been so helpful to so many people. And it's your direction and leadership that it's just professionalism. And you're going to be very much missed, and there are big shoes to be filled. So good luck and enjoy your retirement.
Thank you.
Councilman Green?
Thank you.
Yeah, Ms. Bunny, let your motto be, I wrote this down, whoever come after you, they will take your space, but never your place.
Amen. Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you please read Resolution 13?
Resolution 13 of 2025. Bear with me. A resolution to honor and thank Bunny Moore for over 20 years of leadership and service to the city and the citizens of Shreveport. Whereas Bunny Moore, a certified specialist in affordable housing development, home and grant writing, has served as community development director for over 20 years. Whereas she is responsible for the administration, planning, organization, direction, and monitoring of a wide range of complex federal, state, and local resources, programs, and activities across various interconnected fields. Whereas Ms. Moore has secured and managed over $13 million in Section 108 loan guarantee funds for the city of Shreveport and successfully coordinated and prepared over $34 million in grant funding from private foundations, as well as local, state, and federal entities. Whereas she serves on a number of boards, including former chairman of National Community Development Association Board of Directors, two-time past president of Regional Community Development Association, and a member of the National Cities of Financial Empowerment Coalition, Biomedical Center Research Board, Hope Connection Board, Shreveport Common Board, State Tax Sale Committee, and the Cyport Board. Whereas Ms. Moore has over 30 years of experience in social services, revitalization planning, and affordable housing development. She has management experience in both the public and private sectors and has been deeply involved in continuum of care planning for the Shreveport-Bossier community. Whereas Ms. Moore, whose passion is helping people, has a long-standing personal commitment to community service. Prior to serving as executive director of CenterPoint Energy in 2002, she was the lead planner for the Shreveport's community development team. She believes that every citizen has the right to the American dream. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council and the City of Shreveport in due legal and regular session convened that the Shreveport City Council honors and thanks Bunny Moore for over 20 years of dedication, hard work, commitment, leadership, and service to the city and the citizens of Shreveport, and wishes her every measure of happiness in her well-deserved retirement.
Amen.
You got everybody crying. You sure you want to leave?
We're trying hard.
Okay. First and foremost, thank you so much for the proclamation and your kind remarks. It has been an amazing journey.
Wow.
Serving the citizens of Shreveport in such a meaningful way. It has been a great honor to collaborate with so many individuals and organizations, and to have employees who are committed to this work, who are dedicated each and every day to come to work and make this happen and make me look good. And so I am grateful, so grateful to you all. I want to say that I did serve under 5 mayors and 5 councils. And I want to say that I revered each and every one of you during my journey. I am so honored to have served with all 5 mayors, and I am grateful again for the opportunity. In my departure, I have no doubt that Thea Scott will lead in a smooth transition. Her talent is exceptional. She's kind, she's passionate. She has all the skills necessary to be a great leader, and I'm sure that this transition will go along well. And she doesn't have to fill my shoes. She needs to wear her own shoes. For my time is up here at the city of Shreveport, but I will never, ever, till I live the last breath in my body, stop advocating for the poor and the underserved in our community. Poverty is a real issue, and people are displaced because they can't meet the basic needs that we take for granted. This COVID market has compounded the issue in a way that we can barely imagine for those people. So as we move forward, and as we take our ministry, our mission, and our job serious, let's not forget about the poor and the underserved in our communities. Let's not forget about inclusion, diversity, and equity. Let's not forget about those things. Let's not forget about it. It is our responsibility, all of our responsibilities, to serve this community, each and every one of us. And it is also our responsibility to ensure that everybody is at the table. And so with that said, I pray, and I wasn't going to say this, but I'm going to say it. I've been able to sit to the table with a lot of very influential people. Bill Gates, I sat on a panel with him. I sat at the table with Tom Cousins, who did the Purpose-Driven Community. I had dinner with him. I was on a panel with Maxine Waters and Representative Cleaver several times, fighting for the poor and the underserved and to save programs that matter for our community. I've been with a lot of different people over times. I had the opportunity to shake hands with First Lady Obama. And I said this to say this: you've never seen it on Facebook. You've never heard me talk about it to today, because that's not important.
Wow.
It's not important to be important, but it's important to serve the people of this community. Amen. And with that said, again, thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you, and please make poverty a part of the equation and part of the solution as you go forward. Take your responsibility serious and fight the good fight, because it's your fight to win. Thank you so much.
Bonnie, 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 Bonnie. Bonnie, don't you dare leave. You have to take a picture. No, ma'am. You come back. Come back. Come back. You made me hit the gavel. So I'm going to ask all of her staff to come so you can join in this picture with her, please, and Shreveport City Council and the mayor.
Yes, we should stand in the back. Huh? I think we should stand in the back. Yeah, we got all of it.
You're not embarrassed, are you? No.
Your dad's leaving. No, where's Leah?
Thank you. This is nothing.
Yes. Thank you so much.
We're gonna be wise. How you doing?
I'm gonna do all of this and still beat your time. Just since you talking that smack.
We take a break.
On that note,
No. Mayor Arsenault, do you have any awards, recognition, or distinguished guests not to exceed 15 minutes?
I do not.
Mayor Arsenault, do you have any communications of the mayor relative to city business?
I do. I'd like for our Director of Fair Share to come forward and give a brief report. Dr. Jackson had asked for this report, and we weren't able to prepare it by the time he finished his chairmanship. So, Leon?
Let the record reflect that if the time goes over, it's because Dr. Jackson ordered this report to be done, but I intend to beat his time. Mr. Wheeler?
Hey,
You
thank
have
you,
3
Dr.
minutes.
Jackson and Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Wheeler, please make me look good and
have
give us
3
some great
minutes.
news.
You know,
Aaron.
I don't want to give my age, but probably about 25, 30 years ago, I was in front of Hillary Huckabee and Joe Shine and those council people. And we was fighting for something. We was marching. We felt something wasn't right. My family took a big hit for that marching. My children lost their college education because I went out and marched for this program. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but I suffered a long time, and it was a blessing, a God blessing, that her husband called me and asked me would I be interested. I played hard to get, but I was jumping up and down in my seat. There's a God, because that circle came back around so I can lead this program. I did a little presentation because a lot of people don't really know what Fair Share is. They think it's a race conscience program, but it's not. I'm sort of like Miss Bonnie Moore. I'm not going to fill her shoes, but we're about to disadvantage too. Disadvantaged businesses, regardless of your color, race, gender. As long as you are disadvantaged in your economics, we're going to fight. We will fight for you. And I'm going to run this presentation, if you don't mind, so we can have some little knowledge what Fair Share is. You got the thing? Go back to the first slide. Second. The Office of Fair Share is designed to deliver meaningful resources and services to the small disadvantaged business, and we really do that. Go to the second. We have a mission, we have a vision, and we have goals. Our mission is to advocate for small, disadvantaged, women-owned, veteran, any disadvantaged business. We have a vision to provide a system to strengthen those small businesses. We have goals to eliminate barriers. And I'll give you a barrier. One of the biggest barriers that I had when I took this job is just the heart. It's hard to remove certain stigma from people's heart. That was one of the hardest things that I had to try to remove from employees within the city of Shreveport. To give opportunity and chances to small businesses. They was afraid of them, that they couldn't deliver. The city of Shreveport have a procurement mechanism in place. It starts with solicitation. And then it goes out to bid. Then we have what we call pre-bid meetings. But we have over 200-300 small businesses. They know about every bid opportunity that's available in the city. We send it out every Friday. We send those bid notices out every Friday to those small companies. The lowest bidder ain't automatically the winner. We have a statute in place, an ordinance in place that's required to give good faith effort. We have forms we have designed to make sure that they give good faith effort. Fast Share Forms 1 through 4. Purchasing department send those forms to us before they award their contract to the lowest bidder. They have to contact small companies to give them an opportunity to sub on the project. And what we do in turn, when we get those forms from purchasing department, we actually call those companies to see why was they not accepted? Are they satisfied with the contact, the whole 9 yards? We work with those subcontractors. And once everything is okay, we send those forms back to purchasing. We sign off on them, the bid move on forward. Form 1 through 4 is very important in the bid process. We close the loopholes on the back end, Mr. Councilman Green. We closed the loophole on the back end because what was going on, they would put these companies on the bid forms, but the company wasn't even knowing that they was on the form. And they was getting these bids. We closed that. Can't do that. That does not happen anymore. Also making sure they utilize those companies when they select them. We have Form 5. So when those companies submit their invoices, Form 5 is required to be on those invoices. And we're glad to report that the Office of Fair Share system is at 20% in 2024. Our goal is 25%, but we're at 20%, and we're very satisfied with that because we have to build up the infrastructure of the small business community to be able to satisfy the needs of the city. You have a breakdown of each department, what level they at. We do training and development. We created something called the University of Fair Share, where they can really learn how to run a business. Those are 6. We partnership with Southern University of Shreveport. We have some called how to estimate a scope of work. A lot of these companies don't even know how to submit a bid. We have a class coming up on that. We do community involvement. We have 2 lunch and learns. We invite the public to come out, intermingle with the fair share companies to build relationships, those large companies. And one thing that's near and dear to my heart is if I'm gonna help you build and grow your business, you got to give back to the community. Mm-hmm. We have something called Love My Neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And what that is we try to find seniors and disabled veterans where we get these contractors in our system to volunteer and go out in the community, plaster walls, leaky faucets, toilets, window seals and things of that nature. We do that once a year for the month of July. We collaborate with other resource partners. African American Chamber of Commerce, the greatest Chamber of Commerce with the city. We're actually working with Broadmoor, that big building, that big state building they building. We went down to Baton Rouge, Cedric Glover and I. We got the Commissioner, Jay Dalton, and the governor at the time to change the language of the solicitation to require DBE participation. We did that. I'm collaborating with project in Baton Rouge, because we got to look outside the city limits. Baton Rouge is developing a major economic powerhouse down there, and we want to be involved in that too, local small businesses, collaborating on that. And that's fair share. Any questions? I did it speedily. It's a whole lot more, I promise. It's a lot of work for two people. Let me introduce someone to you, though. I've been sitting here talking. She is one of the most gifted young ladies, individuals, period, that I ever come across. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, council.
Hello.
Men and women. I am Kiara Coleman. I'm the assistant manager of Fair Share. I love to watch the city council meetings, and I'm happy to be here and to be a part of an initiative that is, one more time to make it really specific, that it's all about your financial status. Oftentimes, it looks like it's just Black people that are a part of it, but that's only because disproportionately so they're marginalized. But this program is for everyone. And we want everyone to join so that we can continue to expand and hopefully be a pilot program maybe that other cities and states can be inspired by and take on this initiative to make sure that everyone within the community that pays tax dollars can also benefit and still work on the community that we love and circulate those economic dollars. Thank you.
And one last thing, the total awarded contracts in 2024. There we go. Was 23 million.
Wow.
So we help advocate for over $23 million in 2024.
Okay, don't leave the podium. Councilman Green.
Mr. Wheeler, how many people you have on your staff?
One.
Wow. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Jackson.
Mr. Wheeler, if this is my first time hearing about the program and I'm a business, what would be your advice? What would be step one? When she said join, sign up, what does that process look like?
Well, I introduce them to her. I have them called her. She processes them in. She sent them an email, and a nice email about the Fair Share program, its mission, and she attached the Fair Share application and the vendor's application. You have to be a vendor with the city also.
Thank you.
Mr. Wheeler and Mayor Arsenault, well, I'm happy to hear that the city reaffirms its stance on inclusion for small and disadvantaged businesses. I do think that is something that we need to share with our overall community, that we are open for business, but we also support women-owned, disadvantaged businesses in our area, veterans and all. So I want to make sure that we continuously enhance our Fair Share program, and I thank you for what you have done, and thank you for this presentation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Mayor.
I also have a brief, there's a brief presentation, and it will be brief by the police department.
Okay. Chief, you have 2 minutes and 58 seconds.
We sent the copies to you electronically, but we also took the liberty to get you a copy just in case you were out and didn't get a chance to look at it. This is generally what we present to you every month, keeping you informed on how things are year to date. So this is a comparison of this same time period in 2025 as in the same period in 2024. The first slide you'll see up there is our homicides, the ultimate crime. We've had 3 thus far this year, and last year for the time period we had 5, so that's about a 40% decrease. Next slide, you see shots fired. This is one that most people around our community hear, and it's alarming. For this same time period, we have 169, and last year, for the same time period, 228, which is a 26% decline in our shots fired call. Just as a caveat to that, last week we had the opportunity to meet out in the southeast Shreveport, and one of the things that was expressed was that they were hearing so many gunshots being fired. We began a special operation out in that area this week, and just within a couple of hours ago, our efforts, we seized about 3 pounds of narcotics and has seized about 5 weapons in the area very near there where they are hearing these shots fired call coming from. And we're going to continue that special operation out in that area for a while until we get things under control. The next slide that you'll see, I think I already did that one. Didn't I? No, the year to date, this is the shootings. Thus far this year, we had 17 shootings. That's where someone has said that they were actually shot by a gun, by a weapon, and we had 23 last year for the time period, for a reduction in 26%. Our other felony crimes that we normally report to you, the first in the category, you'll see sex crime cases, and you'll see a 47% increase. For this year, we're combining some of the sex crime as opposed to last year, and also we deployed an additional investigator in that department. So some of this increase is what you see is cases that are being initiated by us getting warrants and arresting sex offenders who are not registering as they are required by law to do. So if there's any out there that has not registered, you need to do it right away, because we're coming to get you. Vehicle thefts, we have 132 so far reported to us. Last year this time, 193 for 32% reduction. Robberies, have 3 that's reported to us this year, had 11 last year this time for 73% reduction. Burglaries, 162 reported to us this year. We were at 202 last year for the same time period, which shows about a 20% reduction. The next slide that you'll see, not too long ago, there were some inquiries from the council concerning home storage units, individual officers having their own vehicle. We have fallen short. We at this time, within the city limits, probably about 60 vehicles short from having enough to supply each officer that actually live in the city limits. But as with most agencies, and we did our research with Bossier, with Baton Rouge, to try to come up with a fair method for consideration for those officers that live outside the city. This first map that you see, the midpoint of the cross up there, for the most part, represents the center of our city using the furthest points from our city limits. That is about at Hollywood and Hearn Avenue, where those X's meet. All right. What you see, this circle here represents the smallest circle, 5 miles from that center point of the city. The larger one represents 10 miles from that center point of the city. So at that point, it's beginning to take us outside the city limits. And this is the method that other agencies use to determine how far we'll allow an officer to take their marked unit home, with the exception if you're in a specialized area such as, K-9 or something like that, where you have to take care of your animal. The next slide that you'll see, that circle represents 15 miles from that point. So you see we've hit Blanchard, we've hit Stonewall, we've hit Red Chute. We have roughly around 176 officers that live within this circle. All right. What you'll see next represents 20 miles outside of that point, with the line drawn there representing Texas line. So what we're considering is those officers that live in Louisiana within that circle, which is about a 20-mile radius from that midpoint. And we have about 20 officers that would live outside of the 15-mile radius. So between 15 and 20 miles, there are about 21 officers that live within that region. All right. Take this one to heart. This is for all of you and everyone that is watching. Quickly approaching is our Citizens Police Academy, March the 6th, and we want you to be a part of our team, which includes all of you and all of you that may be watching out there in our viewing community. If you have further questions, contact our community-oriented policing bureau. They're the ones who are spearheading that effort, and we'd love to have you a part of that. I have some others, and this is the end, I promise. I want everyone with SPD to stand. I asked today, last year, we worked very hard to keep our city safe and get our community. These are the command staff, these are the assistant chiefs, the captain, their XOs, the command staff who is behind, guiding the officers to do what they do. And I just want to let them know how I appreciate all of you. Our community-oriented policing folks are here. It's really, really a team effort beyond what you can imagine. And I'm free to answer any question that you may have.
Councilman Talaferro.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chief, and good afternoon, fellow officers. It really is a privilege to have you here in your chamber as well. Just a couple of requests. Actually, because I don't believe there are anyone up here that would not just relish the idea of having a home storage unit for every officer that we have.
Yes, sir.
I am also interested in providing us the number of officers within the 5 and the 10-mile radius as well, just so we have that data. And as I understood that you have 175 officers within the 15-mile radius, and then you added like 8 more between 15 and 20. Did I misunderstand?
176 lives within this radius, and that includes also the ones that we've already assigned take-home units to. But within that realm, that's how many people would qualify. And if you go to the 20-mile radius, you can add 21 more officers to that 176. So the 176 are those that live 15 miles inward. If you would go 21 miles inward, you would add, 20 miles inward, you would add another 21 to that. And we looked at so many methods to try to come up with something was fair to do this. And our research shows that that's what other agencies have did and determined that was fair. If you just go from one point of the city limits and set a limit, it's not fair to somebody else who just may be a lot closer, theoretically, but the city limits them. Our city limits is about 13 or so miles east and west, and about the same or more north to south. But finding a center midpoint in your city, and nobody can argue that, and do an equal radius around it. And where you fall, you fall.
Okay, and I understand that we only, and I'm going to emphasize, we only need about 60 units to accomplish this?
To accomplish the ones that actually live in the city now, that we do not have vehicles for. When you go outside of that, naturally that would increase.
Okay. So to accommodate the officers that are currently within the
10-mile radius?
the 5-mile radius?
The ones that are in the city now that is on our list, that is excluding anything outside of the city limits. It would take about 60 vehicles to do them.
That's a doable deal.
Sir?
I think that's a doable deal.
Only costs
I'm optimistic about it.
$67,000 to $70,000 a vehicle.
I know.
And Chief,
Councilman Jackson.
with vehicles, are we talking about marked vehicles or
Yes, sir.
unmarked or a combination of both?
Marked totally.
We're talking about marked.
The ones that I've mentioned today has nothing to do with support staff. This is only patrol officers.
Okay. And we feel like that would increase the visibility of SPD all over the city if they're able to take them home and have them in their
Oh,
neighborhood.
absolutely. Anytime that they're moving within the city, they're visible.
I'm in total support of that as well, but I'm also in support of, I really need them to get out these raggedy cars. These old Crown Victorias with the paint peeling off the side, that's me. I don't want an officer to pull up in those cars.
Yes, ma'am.
They let them go play with them some other time.
Yes, ma'am.
When your vehicle is an extension of your uniform.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
So you look good in your uniform, I need your car to look good too.
Yes, ma'am.
It goes hand in hand for me.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
so for that being said, I want us to move away and get out those individuals out of those cars and into the proper vehicle, that when they step out of that vehicle, then they know they are reflective of Shreveport Police Department.
Thank you, ma'am.
That is a priority for me, just like I got rid of them little Ford Focuses.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
We're moving from
Yes.
them. And we have, the Crown Vics is, we still have a considerable amount of those that are still on the road, but parts aren't available so more. So that's the point we're at. When they go out of service, they're out of service for good. But Mr. Dark and I talk quite often, and we're looking at some other options, some lease options that could help to benefit us in the future.
I definitely want us to be able to do that. I think that was something that we discussed in several council meetings ago. But definitely getting our officers into the proper vehicles is very important to me.
Yes, ma'am. What I need for us to consider and agree on is, which boundary outside of the city limits would we all agree is fair? 10, 15, 20, or whatever the case may be. As a matter of fact, when we look at the patrol environment, only 20 people, out of, 250 to 300 lives outside of that 20-mile boundary. So we all just need to agree.
I'm most
what's
concerned with them,
fair.
the visibility inside of the city.
Yes, ma'am.
It's very, very important to me
Absolutely.
because that's where they're going to respond to.
Yes, ma'am.
And then we can look at the others. But getting them inside of a vehicle, inside of the city,
ma'am.
is very important to me,
Gotcha, absolutely.
and not a raggedy one.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Madam Chair.
Oh, Councilman Green.
Madam Chair, you're exactly right about those old cars, especially those old white cars.
Right.
The guy ran the light the other day, Chief,
could have
and
it.
Yes, sir.
one of your officers was trying to catch him in one of them old cars. They couldn't. I had to use my vehicle to block him.
Thank you for your, thank you for your help, and I appreciate any other citizens' help. Thank you so much for your help.
We need to get out of them, Chief.
Yes, sir. When they break, other than an alternator, a battery, or something that's pretty common, they're definitely coming off because ain't no more parts being manufactured.
Yeah.
I don't like to drive my truck fast, but I didn't have
Thank
have
you
no
for your
choice, Chief.
help. We got a light for you too, go on top a little
Well, you know, I
above it.
had a badge once.
We really don't need him to be that certain kind of person.
Thank you, thank you.
Madam Vice Chair.
That concludes mine,
Yes, thank you, Chief. And that number is obtainable.
Yes, ma'am.
We do want to see you in better car,
Yes.
staff in
Okay.
better cars, faster cars. We're
Yes.
still talking about those scat packs. but
Yes, yeah, okay.
We'll keep it at that.
You know
But
we
just
like to
know,
charge.
you have our full support.
Thank you very
We'll
much.
make it happen.
Yes.
Thank you very
Most
much.
definitely. Mayor Arsenault?
Madam Chairman, I want to beg your indulgence. I understand that there are representatives of the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program here,
Okay.
and it would give me an opportunity to present I'm not going to read the resolution, to present a resolution honoring the 50th anniversary of the Earned Income Tax Credit.
Okay.
If they could come, and I will not make a habit of this because it's your meeting, but if I could
Yeah.
beg your indulgence for today, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, I intend to be former Chairman Jackson. Come on, Rashida.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a proclamation that declares January 31st, 2025 as Shreveport's Earned Income Tax Credit Awareness Day. It's a very important provision of the tax code for our working poor, particularly in this country. And so I'm delighted to present this to the volunteers and the workers for the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program.
All right, thank you all so much for the proclamation. Thank you, Mayor Arsenault, for everything. But I'm gonna be very, 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 very brief. I'm Rashida Dawson with United Way of Northwest Louisiana, and I'm one of the community partners with the IRS's VITA program as well. And we have other members here who are community partners, including the IRS themselves, which is Trisha James. But I will allow them to introduce themselves and let you all know that it's about to be VITA season and tax preparation, and all of our VITA sites as far as community partners. We usually do free tax preparation for anybody who makes $67,000 or less. There are other things. And we will start with our full VITA sites. Usually all of them open the first week of February. So without further ado, I'll let them speak.
Council, members, I'm Terry Hines with, hey Tabitha and the members, with Sadie's Arms, and our partner site is Morning Star Baptist Church on Tate Street off of Jewella Avenue. Glad to be here, and we are available Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays.
Hi, I'm Pat Carroll, and I represent the Highland Center, and we are going to do taxes again this year from Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 10 to 6. Come on down.
Awesome.
I'm Trisha James with the Internal Revenue Service, and I've been having a hissy fit because I got here at 2:45 thinking that we were going to be recognized. And so we got taxpayers waiting for us at our sites. So some of the people started early. So thank y'all for finally recognizing
Thank you
us.
so
We're
much.
gone.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christine Sullivan, and I also work with Sadie's Arms Tax Service out of Morning Star Baptist Church. Morning Star has been so gracious to us. We've been there for like 17 years, I think.
Great.
And we have started, so we got people waiting. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Ivory Lewis, and I'm here to represent New Horizon Independent Living Center, and we start February 3rd for taxes.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. I know, right? You're welcome. Thank you, Rashida, for everything you do. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
it?
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. No, you cannot take a break. Does any member have any questions or concerns relative to property standards? Anybody? Okay. Sashay. Mr. Clark provided. You did. Okay. Mr. Clark provided a master plan committee report yesterday. Everyone should have received a budget to actual financial report. Public hearings, there are none. Mr. Dark, will there be any legislation added to the agenda today?
No, Madam Chairman.
Okay. Today, we will hear public comments on agenda items only. Please state your name and your address for a record. You have 3 minutes to speak, and Madam Vice Chair will control.
The first we have is Mark Pittman. Mr. Pittman, welcome to the Shreveport City Council meeting. You have 3 minutes.
Ma'am, I'm very hard here, and I got hearing aids. It's very
Yes, sir. Just need your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
okay. It's Mark Pittman, 4650 Greenwood Road, Shreveport. I think Mr. Taylor was going to go back and do a drive-by and look at the lot. Mr. Taylor also checked the lots out around me. I have no desire for heavy commercial. I just want to put up an accessory building, an 1,800 square foot accessory building. But the lot to the west of me is residential. The lot to the north of me is residential. The lot to the east of me is C3. And my lot is just a little over an acre. And there you can hardly put anything heavy commercial on one. You couldn't hardly get the parking lot on there. So they would have to buy up that property, and then they'd have to get by you to get it rezoned, which I don't see happening. Also, you had some questions about the street behind us. The street behind us is my problem. They're the people who stole my truck. We had white dude, very distinct tattoos on his face. We had him on camera. We gave it to the police. We never heard no more about it until 2 or 3 weeks later. They found my truck parked at a Thrifty Liquor that was stripped, and I had to pay $250 to haul it to the wrecking yard because it wasn't usable again. I just want to protect what's mine.
Right.
And my son is in business with me, and he's 40 years old, and I'm not going to live. I'm old as dirt, but he's not going to get right. We got 2 businesses that we run out of that property right there. So I'm just asking you, please. I got a letter today. I just received it this morning, and they gave me from 10 days from January 22nd to set up delivery and installation of the building. If I don't give it to them within 10 days, which is going to end this week, then I lose my deposit and they're canceling me out. So I'm kind of at your mercy. So I'm asking for your help. I've been going on this for 6 months, and it's been a while, and I've got quite a bit of money invested in it, on deposit on the building and surveying and stuff like that.
And I did. I had the opportunity to go by your place to look at what you were speaking of, and driving behind and seeing the residential area. So I do have like 1 or 2 questions with Mr. Clark, but we'll handle this on today.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Again, it's very hard.
We'll handle this on today. We'll handle it today.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Next is Ms. Robin Snyder.
I'm Robin Snyder, 412 Ockley. I came to talk about Bonnie Moore. When I made sergeant, I was assigned to Queensboro, Ingleside, Weed and Seed, and the Department of Justice was cutting back our money, so I had to be creative. Cattle Parish School Board came to me concerning the school bus stop. They couldn't pick up the kids on Hearn Avenue, and they couldn't pick them up on Midway. They wanted to pick them up on Ferry Street. On Ferry Street was 3 houses that had been adjudicated for an extremely long time. So I went to Miss Bonnie Moore. I said, I need help. I need these houses gone, and I have kind of an idea. She said, well, what's your idea? And I said, I'm thinking playground park. We don't have a park in Ingleside. I said, so can you help me out? She said, yeah, we'll figure out something. Next thing I know, we now own the land. So I go to tear down the houses. They have asbestos. I go back to Bonnie and I said, can you help me out? She said, oh, yeah, we got some brownfield money. Not a problem. So she tears it down. So then I go to Home Depot. They have a grant called Kaboom where they build playground equipment, but they don't build it. They just ship it. So then I go to the Shreveport Fire Department. I said, y'all ain't doing anything. They were at the fairgrounds. So y'all ain't doing anything. Come on. I'm going to put y'all to work. So I put them to work. And then I went to SPAR and I said, can you build me a walking track? And this was twofold because I knew if they built a walking track, they became responsible for the park. So they had to maintain it. And then I went to the DOTD because the park backed up to I-20. And cars were always running off the track there. So I made them put up a real fence to protect the park. So whenever I needed something, I could go to Bonnie Moore. And between us, we could work out something. So it wasn't just houses. She was concerned about whole neighborhoods. Now, this little section of Ingleside, it's all rental property. People don't buy houses there anymore. It's all rental property. But from that day onward, after I got the Ninja Turtles, I don't know if y'all remember the Jump Out Boys when they were called Ninja Turtles, I hired them to get rid of the drug dealers. And after that, they still have National Night Out at Ferry Street Park. So whenever I'm driving down I-20 eastbound, I look over there and I see the park built by Bonnie Moore.
Thank you, Ms. Snyder.
And a bunch of cops and firemen and SPAR.
Thank you.
So, you know, she did more than just houses.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
That's my police officer's perspective on Bonnie Moore.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sammy Mears.
Sammy Mears, 1133 South Point Parkway, apartment 111, Shreveport 71105. I'm speaking today on the same thing, 9A13. I think it's a great idea that we thank Bonnie Moore for her over 20 years of leadership and service to the city of Shreveport and the citizens for doing a great job. She has really earned it. And I mean earned it.
Amen.
And I'm not playing around. I'm not whistling Dixie either. Bonnie has really done a lot for Shreveport and the people and the citizens of Shreveport. I'll ask you to vote yes on this resolution today, and it would really be appreciated. And keep me in prayer. I lost a good friend.
Will do, Sammy.
Thank you.
Will do.
What's his name, Sammy? Just first.
Ron.
Thank you. James Gilly. Tracy Mendels.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
Tracy Mendels, 111 Leo Avenue, Shreveport, 71105. What I wanted to talk about, I think some of the issues have been resolved. The police chief actually touched on part of what I was going to say, and it's in reference to 8509 Line Avenue, the new substation that they're looking at building. Just recently, the police had a community meeting at the Cedar Grove Library. Most of the comments there is, we need help. It's on Line Avenue. We need help. Line Avenue does not, it's not a magic wall that stops bullets. It's going across the street into the subdivision. that I heard a couple people don't want 8900 or 8509 to be a substation because it's too close to them on the other side of the line. But it's coming. Within 24 hours, 2 men were killed on Line Avenue. One next to a high school. And if I'm correct, he was a preacher man too. The other man was killed at Line and 70th Street. Granted, he was homeless, but he had somebody and somebody had him somewhere. If not, God had him. It matters. A street, a district is not going to stop the violence. It's not going to stop the subdivision property taxes from going down. Because if you look at any crime map, you'll see Line Avenue is that line between Cedar Grove. Cedar Grove has a very high crime rate. Correct. I heard the comment, it's not an emergency. It is an emergency. And there's 2 dead 70 and 71-year-old men that say it's an emergency. The chief just said that they had officers out there, got the drugs, got the guns, and the gunfire is quieting down. If you had a substation out there by A.B. Palmer Park and every place else out there, it would take care of the issue. I believe it's an emergency. I believe that, and excuse me, Mr. Butcher, that District D needs to be worried about it and needs that substation there because it's coming across the line. I spoke about this for a whole year. Most everybody knows who I am, and I'll keep speaking on it. It's not about the poor or the rich. It's not about low income, and then across the street, it's a higher income. It needs to be done for everybody. 2 areas put into that substation, Area 4 and Area 2, as opposed to being down off of Dean Road, where if the substation is there and Area 2 has an emergency, you're going to be 15 to 30 minutes waiting for an officer.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
Thanks for your service.
I got one more. Mike Basada.
Hello, Mike Basada, 401 Market Street. I normally don't come up here for public comment, but I could not help come and say a couple more words. I know people have spoken so highly of Bonnie Moore, but I couldn't let this day go by, even though it is a long day. I just want to tell you that we are lucky as a city. I get to work in cities all throughout the state of Louisiana, from New Orleans all the way back here to Shreveport and over, and talk about having such an amazing person whose impact will be felt for generations. And just in the last 3 years, and this is a stat that not many people know about, $100 million, nearly $100 million in private investment was brought in because of Bonnie Moore's work for affordable housing. And those people, every one of those residents, that's something that no statute, that's something that no name on a building will ever fully appreciate, the fact that those people in their lives have been changed. And so just wanted to take this opportunity to thank her. And along with that, somebody else that worked with us on those issues. I would ask everybody to please pray for Pastor Calvin Austin, who is in the hospital after having a health emergency this past week. He's still in the intensive care unit, so please pray for him.
Yes, we'll do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mike, please extend our prayers to the family. Yes.
Madam Chair, this concludes public comments.
Okay, thank you. We have no executive appointments to consider today. There are no items under consent agenda for introduction or to be adopted. Madam Clerk, please proceed with regular agenda legislation.
Resolution 3, adopt an assistance survey and compliance questionnaire required by the State of Louisiana Legislative Auditor's Office.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Councilman Green, second by, sound like Councilman Talaferro. Any discussion? Let's vote.
That passes with 7.
Resolution 4, authorizing the mayor to execute a cooperative endeavor agreement between the city of Shreveport and the state of Louisiana Department of Treasury.
So moved.
So moved by Councilman Talaferro, second by Councilman Green. Is there any discussion? Let's vote.
Councilwoman Taylor. That passes with 7. Resolution 5, authorizing the mayor of the city of Shreveport to sign an approval of the assignment by Cypress Energy Partners, LLC, of an oil and gas lease to Paloma Natural Gas.
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Councilman Talaferro, second by Councilman Jackson. Any discussion? Let's vote.
That passes with 7.
Resolution 6, authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with CT Burnham Corp. To provide engineering and consulting services for Airport Park and Southern Hills Metro Park pools.
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Councilman Green, second by Madam Vice Chair. Is there any discussion? Let's vote.
That passes with 7.
Resolution 7, authorizing the mayor to execute a supplemental agreement with Baylor Consulting Engineers, Inc. to provide engineering services for capital roadway improvement.
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Councilman Jackson, second by Madam Vice Chair. Is there any discussion? I do have a question. Mayor Arsenault, Mr. Dork, with these particular contracts, are all of these contractors involved in the Fair Share program as well?
That is part of their submittal when they do AE selection and things like that.
Okay.
So, yes, ma'am.
All right, let's vote.
That passes with 7. Resolution 8, authorizing the mayor to execute a supplemental agreement with eSource Companies, LLC, to provide consulting services for advanced water metering infrastructure.
So moved.
Second, so moved by Councilman Jackson, second by the chair. Is there any discussion? Let's vote.
That passes with 7.
Resolution 9, authorizing the mayor to execute a consulting service agreement with John J. Goff and Associates to provide engineering service relative to municipal courts building HVAC renovation.
So moved.
So moved by Councilman Jackson, second by Councilman Brooks. Is there any discussion? Let's vote.
That passes with 7.
Resolution 10, granting city council approval for the mayor to pay the premiums and execute documents in connection with the purchase of insurance for the city excess workers' compensation inland marine for the period beginning January 1st, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Councilman Talaferro, second by the Vice Chair. Is there any discussion? Let's vote.
That passes with 7.
Resolution 12, authorizing the mayor to execute a service and maintenance agreement with Stryker Sales Corporation.
Second.
So moved by Councilman Green, second by Madam Vice Chair. Is there any discussion? Let's vote. Go on, hit it for Green. Hit it.
That passes with 7.
Resolution 13, to honor and thank Bonnie Moore for over 20 years of leadership and service to the city and citizens of Shreveport.
So moved.
So moved.
So moved by the chair, second by everybody on this council. Second by Councilman Jackson.
And that
Is
passes
there
with
any
7.
discussion? Oh, she already prophesied it passed with 7. It passes with 7.
Congratulations again, Ms. Moore.
Yeah, amen.
Resolution 14, to recognize the 75th anniversary of Booker T. Washington High School.
So moved. So moved by the chair, second by Councilman Green. Is there any discussion? Let's vote.
That passes with 7.
Resolution 15, dedicating 1800 block of Hickory Street in honor of Coach Clarence Conway.
So moved by Councilman Brooks, second by Councilman Green. Is there any discussion? Let's vote.
Okay, that passes with 7.
Madam Clerk, would you proceed with the introduction of resolutions not to be adopted prior to February the 11th, 2025?
Resolution 16, authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement between the city of Shreveport and Carl Riggs and Ingram LLC for the purpose of an external audit of the city for the fiscal year January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024. Resolution 17, authorizing a 3-year contract between the city of Shreveport and the African American Celebration Corporation. Resolution 18, authorizing a 3-year contract between the city of Shreveport and the crew of Harambe relative to Mardi Gras parades. Resolution 19, authorizing a 3-year contract between the city of Shreveport and the crew of Highland relative to Mardi Gras parades. And Resolution 20, authorizing a 3-year contract between the city of Shreveport and the crew of Sobeck relative to Mardi Gras parades.
So moved for introduction.
Second.
There are no items under introduction of ordinances. Madam Clerk, please proceed with ordinances on second reading and final passage.
Ordinance 40, an ordinance authorizing the lease of portions of Stageworth, Louisiana, a city-owned property to G Unit Film and Television, Louisiana, LLC.
This was postponed.
Madam Chair, I recommend that you postpone this matter.
So moved for postponement.
Second.
Moved by the chair, second by Councilman Jackson. Is there any discussion? Let's vote.
Okay, and this passes with 7.
Ordinance 162, zoning case 24-175C, rezoning property located on the south side of Broad Acres Road, approximately 1,480 feet west of Buncombe Road, from R17 Single Family Zoning District to RA Rural Agricultural Zoning District.
So moved.
So moved by Madam Vice Chair, second by Councilman Green. Is there any discussion? Let's vote.
That passes with 7.
Ordinance 163, zoning case 24-182C, rezoning property located north side of Greenwood Road, approximately 600 feet east of Hutchinson Street, from C3 General Commercial Zoning District to R17 Single Family Residential Zoning District to C4 Heavy Commercial Zoning District.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. This is moved by the chair, second by Madam Vice Chair Bowman. Mr. Clark, I have 2 questions of you.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm sorry, I didn't get his name. Since the gentleman discussed what the residential properties that are around him, and this right here is zoned for heavy commercial. Will there be, is it just going to be for that is right behind his business only and not moving into Hutchison Street?
Yes.
Okay. Or can we have that condition?
This was not one of our conditional
Okay.
processes, but what had happened was he has two zoning classes on his property.
Right.
One is C3, heavy commercial in the old code, and RO17. In order to make the situation equal, the board decided to accept his request and recommend C4 zoning for the entire property.
Okay.
The staff was just going by the future land use map.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Let's vote. Yes, we can move to, yes. Yes.
Okay, that passes with 7.
Ordinance 1, amending the 2025 general fund budget.
So moved.
So moved by Madam Vice Chair, second by Councilman Green. Is there any discussion? Let's vote.
Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
and Councilwoman Bowman?
Yes.
That passes with 7. Ordinance 2, amending the 2025 budget for the Community Development Special Revenue Fund.
So moved. Second. So moved by the chair, second by Councilman Green. Is there any discussion? Let's vote.
That passes with 7.
Ordinance 3, amending the City of Shreveport, Louisiana 2025 Capital Projects Fund budget, appropriating the funds authorized herein. This is for Amtrak.
So moved by Councilman Green, second by Councilman Brooks. Is there any discussion? Let's vote.
Okay, and this passes with 7.
Ordinance 4, amending the City of Shreveport, Louisiana 2025 Capital Projects Fund budget, appropriating the funds authorized herein. This is for Bayou Pierre drainage.
Second. So moved by Councilman Green, second by the chair. Any discussion? Let's vote. Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
I'm sorry, I was just stalling a little bit. She's moving kind of fast.
Councilwoman Bowman?
Yes.
That passes with 7. Ordinance 5, amending the City of Shreveport, Louisiana 2025 Capital Projects Fund budget, appropriating the funds authorized herein. And this is for Paloma Natural Gas.
So move.
Second.
So moved by Councilman Jackson. Second by Madam Vice Chair. Is there any discussion? Let's vote. Mine's stuck, Madam Clerk. Yes.
Councilwoman Taylor?
Yes.
Councilman Butcher?
Yes.
Councilman Brooks?
Yes.
Councilman Talaferro?
Yes.
And Councilwoman Bowman?
Yes.
Mine is the only one working.
That passes with 7.
Prophesied that.
Ordinance 6, amending the City of Shreveport, Louisiana 2025 Capital Projects Fund budget, appropriating the funds authorized herein. This is for University Park subdivision.
Yes, Lord. So moved.
Second.
Second. Motion by the chair, second by Councilman Green. Any discussion? Let's vote.
That passes with 7.
Ordinance 7, an emergency ordinance authorizing and requiring the purchase of property and improvements at 8509 Line Avenue, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71106, to be used as a police station.
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Councilman Green, second by Councilwoman Boatman. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair.
Councilman Butcher?
I am 100% for the purchase of this property. I did have a handful of constituents reach out to me about the distance and really between, and I went out there and looked and measured it, and from the back of where the new parking lot's going to be to someone's bedroom is 40 feet. I don't know where else we can put it, though, and I agree with Ms. Mendel's. We've got to do something because of what's going on. The other issue I have is some of the verbiage in the ordinance itself. I'm concerned with the real estate hat on that it says fair market value, that we will pay fair market value. Who's going to determine the fair market value as an appraiser? What if it appraises for more than the asking price? Should that verbiage be fair market value or the negotiated contract price? I mean, that opens us up in two different ways, because if it appraises for more, then we're locked in to pay for more. By the way, am I reading that wrong, or is that your interpretation?
Madam Chair.
Yes. Attorney Edwards?
May I?
Yes.
Correct. As worded, it requires an appraisal and the payment of, it requires an appraisal and the payment of fair market value.
So if it appraises for $2.1 million, then we pay $2.1 million, because that's what fair market value is the appraised value.
That's, Councilman Butcher, that is how it's worded.
Okay. I'm an appraiser 22 years. Fair market value is what it appraises for. I've been doing it 22 years. I've taken USPAP every year for 22 years, so I understand the standards of appraisal practice. My concern is the verbiage. I don't want anybody to think that we don't want the property, but I don't want to lock us into buying a property for more than what it's worth, or more than what we can pay, or more than that we're willing to pay. So I'm 100% for the property. I'm just a little concerned about the verbiage that's in the ordinance. The constituents that I've talked to have not been against it. They're for it, but they also want a fence, a little bit taller fence. There's about 5 houses that abut the property, within 10 or 15 feet. And like I said, some of those houses are within 40 feet of the property line. And from what I understand, that property line will now be a parking lot. So at 11 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock at night, the officers coming to pick up a pool car, I would assume would be checking the lights, the sirens, the horns, all that stuff to make sure that their vehicle is ready. They're going to hear that. So I would like, and I'm not trying to kick this can down the road, because I'm the one that introduced the resolution to encourage the mayor to purchase it. But I didn't know about this ordinance until Friday. And I had to do some digging and looking at it to understand it. And yesterday, unfortunately, I already had a work thing out of town that I had to go to that I couldn't miss. But I do think that we do need to go forward. I think the mayor has now, with the other piece of property off the table, I think this is the only place for us to go. And I agree about the Dean Road situation. If it's going to serve Area 4 and 2, that's too far off. So I do think that we need to move forward as long as we can do two things. One, a stipulation in there and calculations into our purchase price to put some type of wall up across the rear to protect those residents. Its bedrooms are 40 feet from a parking lot. So I don't think any of us would really want that. They want the police there. They know that it's going to cut down on the shots fired and the burglaries going on and all that, the through traffic going through. They don't mind that. It's just the noise that this thing's going to create. If we could put a fence up back there, include that in whatever our price is whenever we make an offer on it, and then if we could just kind of change the verbiage in the ordinance.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Green?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Mayor, in hearing what Councilman Butcher has just said, with you all having whoever you have to negotiate this, would you just explain to them what he just said, and then we would change the verbiage in this language so that we would get the best bang for the buck. Would that be a problem?
Reverend Green, I laid out in detail yesterday how we would like to proceed with this, which will accommodate what I think Mr. Butcher is saying. And I think, frankly, as I said yesterday, the best thing to do for this is either to withdraw it or to defeat it. But we are not at odds about 8509 Line Avenue.
Attorney Edwards. So can we change the verbiage in there to highlight what it is that Councilman Butcher asked for on the verbiage with the stipulation of the fence that is being added for this particular location? Does there need to be a postponement to change the verbiage?
In order to change the verbiage, we would have to have a postponement. Yes,
Councilman
Madam Chair.
Brooks, what's your pleasure?
Obviously, I don't want to pay the appraisers for more than we can buy it for.
Mhm.
I don't think any of us want to pay more than what we can actually purchase it for.
So we would look at the negotiated rate?
Yes, we would have to change that.
And I'm not opposed to even calling a special meeting if we need to get this taken care of and have a special meeting next week where our attorney has an opportunity to look at this. I'm not opposed to that at all. But like I said, I didn't know about this until Friday. I knew that we were looking at the property, but I didn't know that this ordinance was coming about. And since the resolution was put forward, I did have some people reach out to me and were concerned about the fence and things like that. But I didn't know we were at the point that we were going to do an ordinance to purchase the property. In fact, the mayor and I talked on Wednesday, and there was no discussion about it because I don't think he knew at that point. So I'm 100% behind it. I don't see any other place for us to go. But I do want to make sure that these few little stipulations that are needed, I think one is good business practice, and I think the other is being a good neighbor.
Could we amend the motion? Or do we have to turn around and actually postpone it, or could we amend it?
It's possible to amend it,
Okay.
but the amendments would have to be in writing.
Okay.
There's, and
Can we have a
There's
10-minute
been-
break?
So
while
can
you
we
do
take a
that?
10-minute break to amend the motion?
Because I would prefer us to amend it because
Go
we do
ahead on
need
and
to
go
move
forward.
forward on this. Because 2 months ago, Councilman Butcher brought this to this circle and nothing happened. So I say we take a 10-minute break
And
and
we
then
can
we
amend
go
it.
ahead and amend it and move it
I
today.
have a question, Madam Clerk. Madam Chair. City Attorney, and I want you to be as decisive as possible to the answer to my question. If we vote this, does this obligate the mayor to buy the property? Does it obligate the mayor to pay fair market value just because the council voted? First question. Second part of that question is, I do know once a contract is in place, we do have to give the mayor permission to negotiate, and we have to approve that contract. So if they go behind the scenes and negotiate a lower value, does that coming back to council supersedes this because they negotiated a lower value?
I do not believe that this ordinance is in compliance with the charter or is enforceable because the council has no power to require the mayor to take any action for which he would have discretion. So to your point, Councilman Jackson, if he can go behind the ordinance and negotiate regardless of what it says, that means that the ordinance itself was unenforceable and was essentially ignored. As it is written, I do not think that this ordinance is in proper legal form. I would have trouble saying that this ordinance is in proper legal form. I do not feel that it is enforceable. I do not feel that it is in line with the charter.
Where
But
is
we
that?
do have the power to sign whatever contract that is negotiated.
The city council would be required to approve the mayor or ratify the mayor's signature on a contract to purchase this property. Yes, sir.
Regardless of price.
Yes, sir.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Green and then Madam Vice Chair.
Madam Chair, and to the council and to the mayor, my understanding of me supporting this was not trying to twist the mayor's arm to say, you need to sign this. The reason that I signed on to this is because it's an emergency. People have gotten killed over there. The residents over there are crying out for some help, for the police department to come. To me, this is just saying to the administration, would you all please hurry up and do something for the people in that area? That's how I receive it. I'm not taking it as to a demand that you better do this. It's just simply saying, those folk over there are in a dire need of some help from the police department. They've called the sheriff department. They've called state trooper. They've called for whoever could come and help them. So I signed on to it just to say to the administration, would you all please put it in gear so that this could be done? It ain't something that I'm trying to say, Mr. Mayor, I don't try to run the second floor. My job is to pass legislation or defeat legislation on second and fourth Mondays and Tuesdays. That's what my title, that's what the charter say I'm supposed to do. I'm not supposed to run your office. I'm not trying to. All we're saying is, would you all please go as fast as you can to get this done? Now, that's why I signed. And Councilman Butcher, you're the one who introduced me to this property. And because of your passion for it, I signed on to it then.
Exactly.
I said to you that I would support you on any way possible.
Correct.
That's why I signed on to it. It was never you and I saying that we better get the matter do it. I signed on it because of the passion that I have for the people in this city. I'm a servant, and you had a servant heart to say, we need this. I said, I'm with you. Is that true?
That is true, and I agreed 100% with you, and I still agree with you on that. My concern is that, number one, I did not see the ordinance. I was not asked about the ordinance. And if I were the original sponsor on the resolution, I would have at least liked to have been asked about it. But, like you say, it doesn't matter the price of tea in China. Where we are now, though, is after I have looked at it, I do have that one concern. As far as the legalities go, I'm not a lawyer, but I do know that one statement about fair market value that's the law. I mean, it would get us in trouble.
And also, Councilman Maducci, the reason that I have not talked to you since a month ago is because I'd heard you was mad at me, so I did not.
Who's the last person? Who called who last?
My cousin.
No, me. I called you
Madam Chairman,
last.
Yes.
I'd like to say something.
Anyway, I'm not.
Let me get Madam Vice Chair. Madam Vice Chair.
Yeah. For me is, it's not my district, but I have received numerous amount of calls about what's going on in the district, what's going on Line Avenue. So many people have called me about it. I think today we need to get out the verbiage and the egos. It's a bunch of egos, and make it happen. Whatever we need to do, a 10-minute break, let's make it happen and move forward. Everybody around this horseshoe, let go of the egos and take care of the people. That's what they voted for. That's what they want.
Correct. Councilman Brooks.
Madam Chairman, I'd like to, first I'd like to welcome Councilman Butcher back. And I discussed this ordinance with everybody who answered the phone.
Mm-hmm.
You were not one of those people because you didn't answer.
Well, I'm sorry.
This district.
I answered you last night.
You did last night.
I didn't.
finally.
You didn't answer me.
This district, the shooting at Line and Kings Highway is in my district. This substation serves District B, C, and D. So your post that you weren't consulted about something for your constituents in your district.
For the police station.
The police station serves Councilman Talaferro,
I don't
my district,
understand
and
why
yours.
we're going back and forth on this. I'm for it. Fix it any way you want to fix it. I'm for
Point
it.
of order, Butcher. He has the floor.
He has the floor.
I got you, but
He has the floor.
Now, I agree with Councilwoman Bowman. Let's get this thing amended, and then vote on it.
Can we take a 10-minute, Madam Clerk, I move that we take a 10-minute break for the attorney to do an amendment for the verbiage.
Second.
Can
We need to
he
vote.
amend it? Can Can he amend it
He
right
said
now?
Yeah,
we
he can do an amendment.
All he gotta do is type it in. He a fast
Do we need to
type.
vote on that? Do we need?
I have a comment as well before
Hold
we
on,
do
we've
that.
already voted, motion and second. Madam Clerk? Okay,
What are we voting on then?
10-minute break.
Ooh,
The attorney types 75 words in a minute.
Councilman Butcher? Oh, y'all still the same, I'm sorry.
I would prefer to postpone it for a day or two and get it together and then have a special meeting and vote on it.
You just had a motion and a second on
I
the
got you.
floor.
I got you.
Yes. So you all can vote up or down. You could vote yes or no for the 10-minute break.
So if we have additional changes that we'd like to recommend for this
Better do it now.
ordinance,
We needed to do them before we did the motion and the second.
Hit it again. Yeah.
we're gonna change stuff we need to change.
But you had to be there during the discussion
I
time.
was waiting
Councilman
for
Talavera.
everybody else to do their.
That passes 5-2.
That's 5-2.
10-minute break.
All right, fine.
We have an amendment to ordinance 7. So Madam Clerk, would you please provide us some directions? And Mr. City Attorney?
We can take a motion to take this ordinance up. You
In
can
a
do,
substitute motion, right?
No, we're amending
Well-
the original motion.
we had a motion and a second on the first one?
Mm-hmm.
You can do a substitute motion now.
Okay.
Substitute motion to approve ordinance 7 as amended.
Second.
I think we need to,
She's going to read it.
A motion on amendment.
You read it into the record.
There is one amendment. Amendment 1, amending ordinance 7 of 2025, to read as follows. Now therefore be it ordained that the City Council of the City of Shreveport, Louisiana, in due legal and regular session convened, that the City of Shreveport endeavor to purchase the property and improvements at 8509 Line Avenue, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71106, to be used as a police substation. Be it further ordained that if, do I have to read that? Explanation of amendment. This amendment serves to allow the administration discretion to negotiate the purchase of the subject property without mandating a certain price or process.
The stipulation for the fence that Councilman Butcher asked for.
I would like that in there, but I don't, I think
That
that,
was supposed to be added.
yeah.
Madam Chairwoman, may I speak?
Yes.
We'll make sure the fence is there.
Okay.
It's on the record.
I'm gonna send Gary Brooks over there to get you if it isn't.
Can you repeat your
Second.
motion and second for the amendment?
Motion. So move.
No, who motion and second?
The chair and the vice chair on the substitute motion. Discussion? No discussion?
And this is on amendment 1.
So we're voting on Amendment 1? Okay, let's vote.
Amendment.
This passes with 7.
Yes.
So move. Second.
So moved on the motion as amended by Councilman Green, second by Councilman Jackson. Any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Councilman Butcher?
for the record, Mr. Edwards, this does make this ordinance legal now in your eyes, correct?
That is correct.
Mr. Mayor, you promised to put a fence up to protect the people from light and as much as we can. We know it's not going to be 100% fix, but that will be part of the completed project of the substation.
Yes, sir.
And
Thank
just as you said, for the record, Councilman Butcher, because this is a municipality, their appraisal has to be done. And
Yeah,
so
oh,
they
yeah.
have to be able to negotiate
Right,
a fair, equitable rate because we are a municipality. So I just want to say it again for the record.
Thank you.
All right.
I just don't want to, I don't want us to pay more if it
Correct.
appraises for more.
I'm going to call for the vote.
Yes, okay.
That passes with 7.
Madam Clerk, is there any table legislation to be removed from the table?
No, ma'am.
We have no property standards, MPC, ZBA, or ABO appeals to consider today. Are there any other appeals, Madam Clerk?
No, ma'am.
Are there any reports from officers, boards, and committees? Madam Clerk, is there a clerk? Yes. Councilman Green?
Madam Clerk, would you announce about Terry's mother's funeral? What were you telling us? That it was?
I was going to send it to you in email.
She left it, the information, she left it upstairs.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
She'll email it to us.
I do have a clerk's report, though.
Yes.
The following letter of appointment was received from the mayor's office on January 21st, 2025, and is subject for confirmation on February 11th, 2025. Risk Manager Karen Hooks.
All right. Mayor Snow, do you have any additional communications? Okay. Does any council member have any additional communications? I do. Mr. Dark, in lieu of the president's order, executive order, as it relates to federal funding and the freezing of some programs, how is that going to affect the city of Shreveport with this funding, especially for community development block grants? Is there any other federal funding that we receive for our fire departments, police departments? How is this going to affect us?
Madam Chairman, the first places that would be affected, if it were to stand the way some folks try to interpret it, and there's some question about that, would be community development, airports, and sport training. Because that's where most of our federal money comes in. Airports, you'd just be holding off on construction projects mostly, but sport training money and community development money would get interesting. What we are reading today is that at least some folks in the presidential administration are backing away from the sort of blanket ban on new grants and trying to tie it only into ones that, in their opinion, support an agenda that for some reason they do not support, and ours don't fit in that category. So we are hopeful that at worst that's what we get. We will keep you advised if it looks like it's going to be anything else.
So have we made any phone calls to our federal delegation?
I have not. I do know that De Niro, when he was in Washington, talked to them a little bit about that. And right now, we're not panicking on it because we think it's going to be short-lived and it's going to affect only a very narrow slice of grants. But I mean, for instance, we got one just last week for the generators for water and sewer, and we just got the letter today saying, hey, you've been awarded. So we are concerned about it.
Right.
But I don't think right now we're going to panic about it because it appears there's enough screaming from almost every congressional district in the country so that it is not likely to be a long-term blanket like some folks try to interpret.
I know there is some concern with our constituency, especially for Head Start programs, Section 8 housing, SNAP benefits, Medicaid, those with disabilities. I did place a call to this Speaker of the House to share my concerns regarding our constituency and our position on, how detrimental these programs, if removed, could be for the city of Shreveport and its constituents. Because many of them utilize these particular programs, and definitely how detrimental that it could be for our colleges and universities in the area, along with moms with children in Head Start and just Title I education schools. So I just wanted to make sure that we stay abreast of that and reassure our commitment to our community that we are on
very
top
much
of
will.
this.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I'm friends with a lot of Latino, and they have been calling me about their safety, and I know on yesterday that the question was asked, is there a way that we can quieten that community as to them being safe? Because, one, they are basically afraid to go to work. There are a lot of them who's working on my substation up there on Monkhouse, and I was up there, and only one could speak English, but he was concerned as to will they be in trouble? Is there anything that we can do to, quieten their spirit or make them feel better or make them feel safe?
Reverend Green, is our position that every citizen of Shreveport is entitled to dignity and respect and safety, and that's what we're going to endeavor to do.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes. I want to add this too. I want to thank the Water and Sewer Department for extending a press release on yesterday, but I would implore you, Mr. Mayor, that there needs to be constant communication about our water, because we're receiving the calls, the council members are, as it relates to water, and that needs to come from you all's office regarding our water supply and the integrity and the quality of the water. You have some people that want to sign a petition regarding our water quality, so I think that it is very important that you all make sure that you update the citizens on the quality of our water. Does any other council member have any additional communications? Executive session, there are none. If there is nothing else, this meeting is adjourned.